In My Hero Academia chapter 378, we have seen the huge return of two major characters, Gentle and Lady Nagant. But it didn't end there, as the chapter might have teased an even bigger character returning for the all-out war arc against Shigaraki and All For One, and that's the return of All Might. It's insane to think about, but if I'm correct, this will probably be one of the most epic character returns to happen in My Hero Academia, and also be one of the most heartbreaking moments in the entirety of the series, as this would mean that Sir Nightaye's foresight of All Might's death will become inevitable. Let me explain. So towards the end of chapter 378, All Might's detective friend Naomasa borrows some words said by All Might, and in the panel, while thinking about him and his words, we see All Might walking towards the door carrying a briefcase. Now, if we take a look back at the beginning of the series, this briefcase that All Might is carrying looks very similar to the briefcases that each student is given, which contains their hero costumes in. I believe in All Might's briefcase contains his hero suit. And it's not like Naomasa had pictured All Might leaving from a time that happened way long ago. This is something that happened very recently, as All Might is not next to Naomasa while he is communicating with the rest of the heroes. But how is All Might going to even be able to fight? One For All is no longer within him. We've literally seen the remaining embers of One For All disappear within him, so that would mean that there is no way that All Might can even fight without One For All. He is quirkless after all. But what if there was actually a way for All Might to fight again, just like how he used to with One For All? Eri. Given the current state of things in the war, it isn't looking so hot for the heroes right now. All For One is back stronger than ever, but is on a crucial time limit that will inevitably kill him due to the rewind bullet. Shigaraki has all of his quirks back, there are twice clones littered all throughout the battlefield, and Dabi has come back for his vengeance on Endeavor, and for the heroes, Bakugo, Edgeshot, and Mirko are incapable of fighting right now. Deku is having a hard time because of the strain put on his body from the second's quirk, and Shoto, Endeavor, and Shoji not being in the best shape right now. Knowing All Might, he is someone who won't be able to stand there and just watch as his fellow heroes and successor fight what looks to be a losing battle. Having Lady Nagant and Gentle join in the fight is awesome to see, but it still leaves our heroes heavily outnumbered, especially with Nagant not being fully recovered from her injuries. All Might's only choice is to also join in the fight. We've already seen him being able to fight off villains with a car, showing that without his power, he can still find a way to fight, but it's important to note that All Might is still capable of going into his All Might muscle form without the power of One For All. All he needs is that power to truly be All Might again, which is where I think Eri will come into play. Now, in chapter 353, Kirishima said something very interesting, in that the escort mission that he was on was completed, which was the reason why he arrived a little late to the Jakku Hospital ruins. What or who was Kirishima escorting, and where to? It's possible that Kirishima was tasked to escort Eri to a safe location where All Might is heading to with his briefcase, or he could have escorted the briefcase to All Might, since Eri looks to still be in the safety of UA when All For One uses the modified version of the rewind bullet. It's important to note that we don't know exactly how Eri's rewind will affect All Might and One For All, since he had already given it away to Deku before Eri was even brought into the series. But All Might isn't dumb. He's not going to create a situation where there are now two One For Alls that All For One can now potentially have, nor is he going to revert back to his prime and potentially run the risk of making Deku lose One For All mid-battle, resulting in his death. No, All Might would take these possibilities into account and put himself in the same sort of situation that All For One is currently in right now, and that's on a time limit. He would have Eri revert himself back to where the embers of One For All are still lit, but going away due to him having already given away One For All to Deku. So All Might and Deku would still be capable of using One For All at the same time like before, and it wouldn't affect Deku and his use of One For All now in any way. Even though this theory heavily banks on Eri being the one to revert All Might back to a state where he had One For All, there is something that kind of further solidifies the possible return of All Might with One For All. Back during a 2021 Q&A for the My Hero Academia art exhibit, Horikoshi said that he would be drawing All Might more often, meaning that All Might in his muscle form should be making a return in some way, shape, or form, whether it's from All Might being in some sort of mech suit, giving us Iron Might, or him coming back as the symbol of peace one last time, or possibly Horikoshi just dropping new sketches with him in it. Interestingly enough, with the interview having taken place in 2021, All Might hasn't been in a lot of sketches since then, so that means Horikoshi is probably going to be drawing him in different ways, such as including him into the manga. With that said, this is where Sir Nightheye's foresight comes into play. As we know, Sir Nighteye told All Might that if he were to continue down this path, that he was going to encounter a villain and die an unspeakably gruesome death within 6 to 7 years. As of right now, they are in the 7th year of when Nighteye's prediction is supposed to happen, and so far there are currently 2 villains who are more powerful than the last time All Might had encountered them, who want nothing more than to see All Might dead. They are Shigaraki and All For One. Since Sir Nightheye's foresight saw All Might losing to a villain who they've never met before at the time of when the foresight was made, it's most likely going to be Shigaraki who will get his hands on All Might, meaning that Sir Nighteye's foresight will end up coming true once he sets foot on the battlefield to help the fight against All For One. It's incredibly sad to think about, but that will most likely end up happening, as Sir Nighteye's foresight is one of the many things that are lingering in the background of the series. At least if and when All Might makes his return, we will see an epic return and an epic fight. Of course, this is just a theory. Like I said before, he could either come back with the embers of One For All, or come back in some sort of exosuit, kind of like an Iron Man suit, to join the battle. I really wouldn't mind seeing All Might return with the embers of One For All, as I think it would make sense for him to do so given the circumstances, and seeing as All For One put himself on that time limit, I could see All Might putting himself in the same kind of situation. Of course, we will have to wait and see if All Might will actually truly return and enter into the battlefield, so right now it's just a big waiting game. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on the theory. Do you think All Might will somehow find a way to join the final war, and how? Do you think if All Might joins the fight that his fate with death will be officially sealed? Let me know everything in the comment section below. Thanks for tuning into another My Hero Academia theory video. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button below, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.